This is Dave of Dave Trains, layout update number 20. Before I get into what I've accomplished so far, I'd like to go back to my last update when I had some questions and got a lot of great comments and suggestions about the problem I had painting my buildings. I would primer them and then trying to dry brush or put a wash over the paint, over the primer. It would come off, wouldn't adhere to it, and I never had that happen before. And so, like I said, I got a lot of great comments and suggestions, and the thing that I have figured out is when I primered that one building I was talking about, I had used a Rust-Oleum primer. It's supposed to be good for plastic, but either two things happen. Either this primer, it talks about it's made, you can put a top coat on it, so that to me makes me think that it will not accept a water-based paint. Now, I have primered all my plastic, mainly because I want the surface to be consistent. When they mold plastic, sometimes some areas are harder than others, some areas are more dense, or the colors more dense, and it may not give you quite the effect that you want. Now, that's just me. Some people say don't primer them. I tried that, and I still had trouble with it adhering to the plastic. Now, I'm using design preservation models is what I'm working on. The test pieces that I used were quite old, but here, that's basically what I came out, because someone suggested to go get basically, and I can't pronounce it, the Japanese company primer, but local hobby shop didn't have any, and so I went to Hobby Lobby, which is pretty close to me, and all they had was the Model Master brands, which is made by Rust-Oleum. I don't know when they purchased them out, but the difference is this Model Master is really high in VOCs, and where the Rust-Oleum is not. And I don't know if that makes it where it's going to accept paint a lot better, if it etches the plastic. I don't know. The other thing I could have done is when I used this product, the cheap stuff, is that I might have put up too thick a coat on it, and that is also, I think, one of the things that I did wrong, because I went and used this Model Master white primer, and I didn't put a thick coat, basically just a light dusting, and everything worked out great. Had no problems with the cheap acrylic paints I get from Walmart and Hobby Lobby to stick to it. It had the effect that I wanted it to. I don't know if you can see it real good in this. Maybe this is a better piece, but I like to spray paint the brick white, and then go back and basically dry brush a red, and then wash it in a white paint to try to bring between the bricks the mortar out a little bit, and then I go back and dry brush that again with a darker red paint, and it gives me the effect I want of just a plain brick building. And you can use other colors to try to, all bricks not the same color. If you look at a lot of old buildings, they're darker and lighter, they're kind of mixed in, but being in scale, and this is going to be good enough for me, but it did do the effect that I wanted to do. So again, I appreciate everybody's comments and suggestions, and tried those, and this is what I came up with. So it's either my fault, the painting it too thick with this material, or the makeup of this primer would not allow it to accept acrylic paints. So unfortunately, this is pretty cheap. Now, I've used gray primers and not had trouble. This is a Rust-Oleum. I've used a Rust-Oleum, and I've used the Krylon paints, and I just don't know. I don't know if the formulation changed or what. because I got this because I had run out of the old Model Master primer I had. So for now on this I'll just use this and forego the headaches. So anyway, let me turn the camera off and go over here on the other side, and I can show you what I've done. Alright, the main thing that I did this week is I finished painting this Trackside Transfer kit from Design Preservation. I just went ahead and spray painted it. I didn't try to weather it or anything like that. It turned out really good. How well you can see it. I used the glue like I showed in the last episode from Vinny to do the windows, and man, that worked really good. And on the roof on it, it had plastic, but I feel more comfortable working in wood. So this is a piece of basswood. The balsa will, you have to be careful with that. It'll warp on you. This will not warp near as bad. But one side you have a finished surface, but I flipped it over, and it kind of gave me the appearance of, just a roof material like tar paper or some type of industrial type rubber coating. And then I had a few of these details for ventilation and whatnot, and it came out really good. I was going to use this building in the town, but I decided to go ahead and this came with it as the office, and go ahead and put it in the office. So more than likely this building's going to go about right here, and the office probably right there. I had to notch out the roof, but I think it turned out really good. I had some more roof vents. This building's not complete yet. I did get all the windows in it, but I need to put some holes in the floors in it, so when I buy some lighting, I can light this building up at night. Probably do this also. I know when I watch Vinny, a lot of times he talks about scale and stuff, and so I try to keep the same type buildings so the scale would stay the same. But with this dock here is really too high for the trucks I've got, and I've got these classic die cast, I believe. So it is what it is. There's not much I can do with it. We're working it in scale, and we'll go from there. So I've got to turn this off because I got a train wreck I got to take care of. So I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. No injuries, but I'm not quite sure what happened there. So we'll find out here in a minute. Anyway, I'm pleased how this turned out. I definitely I'm thinking I do have some more roof details that I can use on that building, and then I think this is where this one's going to live at. Might move it down a little bit. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm going to have to go from there. The other thing I did is, and I've had this for a long time, is I had a Jesus Saves billboard, and it's one of these laser wood structures that I have a love-hate relationship. They look good, but they're really hard for me to put together. This one was not too difficult, really. And the good thing about this is, if you read right there, a portion of the purchase of this goes to a food harvest. And I'm going to recommend to everybody, if you're not, the church or organization is not doing anything to help people that are less fortunate, that are in need of food, you might want to look into that. It's a very rewarding type ministry, and you'd be surprised how many people in this nation, as much as we have, that don't have a good meal every day. And if you've never had that situation where you didn't get anything to eat for a few days, if you've never been in that situation, it's really bad and pretty scary. But anyway, I really like this billboard. Let me come down here and hope I don't make you seasick. And we'll walk over here to it. Excuse me. It was a really good kit to put together. I think it gives a good message that everyone can understand and need. I would suggest that if you're having a rough time or anything, that you think about Jesus and think about what He's done for you, whether you believe in that or not. But just think about that, and it'll help you out. There's no doubt about it. It has me. But as far as the kit, it's a fiddly little kit with the legs are awful tiny, but it fits exactly where I want it to go as we'll drive into my little town and go to work every morning. But that's all that I've gotten done. Probably won't get anything else done the next week. Well, I know I won't get anything else done because I'm going back to Mexico, and so hopefully I'll get the chance to see some live streams at night and say hello to everybody. Probably won't be able to chat much, but looking forward to that, and we'll go from there, I guess, see how it goes. But as always, if you want to follow along as I do this little in-scale layout, please subscribe and make sure you hit that little bell icon so you get to hear any new updates as we go along in this journey. And always I appreciate your comments and suggestions, and I want to thank you very much for them. And y'all have a great weekend and a great week ahead, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.